Okay.
Well, AJ, thank you so much for helping my project. Could you say a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, hi. I'm happy to help. I find that project super cool and very interesting, and so I cannot wait all of the learning to see all of the learnings that you're gonna get in 2024 once you're done. So my name is AJ. I am based in San Francisco. I am French. Apparently, I do have an accent, so just in case people were wondering where I came from. Um, I am happily married with the love of my life that I met somewhat recently. Let's say that we got married pretty rapidly. So it's been what, 3 years. Yeah, and I'm just me. I'm working in enablement, so I'm training people on a software.
How about some hobbies? What do you do for fun?
So knowing that right now we are still in pandemic and San Francisco is on top of that heavily impacted by the wildfires in California, we're staying indoors. Um, but we're cooking a lot. Like I'm a big chef. I love cooking. I love doing all of that. So I'm very creative in the kitchen. So that's my big hobby.
That sounds like an awesome, yummy hobby.
Yeah, the problem with pandemic and low exercise is that I am actually getting a little bit chubby as we go, but you know.
It's like the cruise ship phenomenon with the, endless buffets and you're in an isolated place and
Exactly. And I don't have the courage to install like a running, whatever in my living room. So no exercise.
I know I think if you had that hooked up to a generator and that was powering like your TV or what have you, it would definitely be way more motivating, right?
I agree with you. I
You're like,
totally agree.
you're like, wow, this is really exciting. I'm feeling so tired, but I gotta see the end.
A real purpose to your Netflix binging sessions would be really good, actually.
Indeed.
Yeah.
No, I mean, actually, all you need to do is hook it up so that when you go below, whenever you stop, it gives you a few seconds, it beeps, and then it turns off the TV. So you don't even have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or to go back to the cooking, it goes on to your oven, and then like if you don't pedal fast enough, the heat is not there, and so like anything that you're baking or cooking in there is just not gonna work.
And then you start going with like sushi and raw stuff,
uh,
food.
I mean, like apparently it's good for you, that raw diet, but uh, I don't know.
All depends on who you talk to.
I guess.
So, good question for you. If it was safe and affordable, would you have any interest in going into space?
Absolutely, I would totally do it. There is something about the view from above that is fascinating to me, and I feel like since I moved to the US, I mean, it's kind of weird what I'm about to say, but I kind of have that appreciation for very big space that I didn't really have in Europe, right? It's like we're more dense in Europe, I feel, and I never really realized how big the US was before actually living here. And so uh, we went to Alaska last summer, and I didn't even know that things could be that big, that wild, that uninhabited for such a, so much space. And so I feel like going up there and just checking the earth from above must be like such a like crazy experience that was really put everything in perspective, to have that realization how small you are.
Yeah, I mean, like Neil Armstrong, he says that whenever he was on the moon, he could hold up his thumb and like cover the earth with his thumb.
That's crazy.
And
That is
people are
crazy.
like, did that make you feel really big? And he's like, no, actually, it made me feel really small to think that everything I ever knew, ever did, everything was hidden by that thumb.
Yeah, yeah, I understand. Like it's a it's a powerful feeling to see how small you can be, I think. But yeah, I would absolutely love that.
You know, scientific discovery has not been good for the ego of humankind.
Oh, really?
Well, I mean, think about it. Whenever we were, uh, thousands of years ago, we looked out and we're like, wow, this is everything. It's so huge and it's amazing. And then, we learned that the Earth is actually round, and oh, but that's okay. It's the center of everything. So we're still good. Then we learned we're not even the center, or we're not even like the first thing around it. We're the third thing around it. And then we learned that there's all these other stars that are out there, and not only that, most of them have planets. So it's just like we're not even special. We become less and less special as we.
Less and less special. Yeah, I guess. I never really had that big ego anyways, right? So I feel totally okay being small. That works fine for me. I don't have that complex, you know. And I find it somewhat reassuring in a sense that you as an individual you're not the center of everything. I find that pretty reassuring.
I know it's nice to think that regardless of whatever happens here on Earth, the universe will go on. But it'd also be sad to think if this is the only place where like consciousness and civilization developed, I mean, if that's truly unique in the universe, maybe it's our duty to kind of spread it around. I mean, what do you think?
I think it's very interesting. And so my husband is a mathematician by training, and he would say, like, statistically speaking, it's impossible that it's only us. Um, so I'm sure there is something else out there, maybe out of reach for now. But there is something interesting in what you're saying. Like, is it a human duty to kind of spread out what we are and who we are? That's interesting because, I mean, like, I kind of blame it also on the current context where I'm just like, do we really want to spread out everything that we are right now at that specific moment? I mean, like, we're not really taking care of our current planet that well. Um, Ideologies are conflicting. I'm trying to be as PC as I can right now, but so do we want to advertise that? And who can we send in order to advertise that? Like, do we do like a pool of people that represents the good and the bad, depending on what your perspective is on everything? Or, like, I don't know. It's a really good question. I've seen like that. So I don't know if it's a real thing or if it's in my head and it's a sci-fi movie, but I thought that they left on the moon or they sent a probe somewhere that had like that kind of high level description of like, that's, like, this is what we believe in, this, and like I found that idea like,
Voyager 2.
thank you. My husband is like, Voyager 2. So I don't know if you're getting that on my headset, but I found that really, really cool. Like, something that is very pragmatic and factual. So yeah, all of that to say, I think we should probably stay very pragmatic and factual and not take positions too much if we're sharing who we are as a human race. I don't know.
I know it's like bugs, you like see, this group of cockroaches are getting together and saying, hey, we might be the only cockroaches in the world. We should go out there and, propagate. And then, they get the attention of the humans and then they get exterminated. We don't want to be like that.
Yeah, there's that. And there's also maybe like, the cockroaches are exterminating other things, right? So you're coming in and you're basically conquer and destroy everything else that you see, which historically speaking, we have been pretty good at doing on our own planet. So I don't know, it's very philosophical. It's a very interesting conversation.
I know, I think as a species, maybe we're suffering from a little bit of group depression, not
Yeah.
kind of, I mean, I don't get the sense that people like 100 years ago, 200 years ago, thought that human activity was bad, right? I mean, like everything you read, everything that you see, it's like all of development was perceived as being good. And it's like somewhere in like the past 40, 50, 60 years, and somehow that started turning where we started questioning, are we good or
Yeah.
worthwhile?
Yeah.
So,
That's very true. That is very true. I don't know if it's because like 100, 200 years ago, like the excitement of, you know, like simplifying your life, making it more efficient was like the gains were so big that you wouldn't question the morality of anything that you were doing. Versus now, I mean, the gain is that cool, you can upload your Netflix movie faster. Okay.
well, and if you also think about kids, I mean, used to kids were a vital part of their parents' businesses, of the farm. You know, to take them away from like work and send them to school was a thought of, is that really what you should be doing? And now, you know, kids go and sit in classrooms for 12 years, followed by another 4, all to figure out what the right mark is to put on a paper. And they come up with like contrived physical activities and everything. And this, there's no grounded value in terms of their existence, it feels like.
Yeah, I don't have kids, so I don't really have too much of a perspective on that. But I'm wondering if there's also something to do with all of the choices that you have. Maybe we have too many choices. And so since the world of possibility is so big, it's kind of hard to find a purpose into what you're doing. I
Or
don't
to have
know.
confidence that
Yeah.
you chose right.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of people are having like those midlife crises, and then they're just drastically changing their career. Like I personally know a lot of people that were in a consulting career, and then like suddenly at, you know, 40 something, just change and become like head chef in a restaurant. And so like kind of follow your passion, follow your dream, and like see that you can make an impact in something you believe in. So that's, yeah, that's pretty interesting. I wonder, you know, like if and when like there is some kind of space, you know, conquest happening, and people are bound to spend a lot of time traveling because it's like the distances are so far, are like, are we going to like those sci-fi movie, you know, where everybody has like one single job and that's your whole purpose, and then there is no questioning, and like you kind of go back to 200 years ago when, you know, you were born in a, you know, like a farm, like a milk farm, for example, and that's all of your prospects in life were, you know, continue, you know, having cows to produce milk, and that was it. Like that was the end of your dream, that was all of your possibilities. And so if we're conquering space and spending, I don't know how many years traveling from point A to point B, and your role is to do, I don't know, blah, then like that's your prospects for the duration of your life is going to do blah, and that's it. No questions asked.
Yeah, you've really become just a cog in a machine, only
Yeah.
valuable to your ability to fill somebody else's purpose.
Yeah, or the greater good, right? So your purpose is to serve the community, because that's survival of all, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I'm watching too many sci-fi movies. That's possible as well.
I know. Well, talking about, you know, do you have any idea the last time we went to the moon? Like,
No, I have to admit, I believe you told me and I forgot.
but do you think it was recent? Like more than 10 years ago, or less than 10 years ago?
I think it was more than that. I want to say 60s, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, 1972 was the last time.
Oh,
1969 was the first time we landed somebody on the moon.
wow. Yeah. Is it like, why are we waiting? Like, why is it so long before, like, since the last time we did it and the next time we're going to do it? Is it like fun? Is it like not interested anymore? Or like, do we have bigger fish to fry than the moon? Do we feel like we know it enough that we don't have to go back?
Um, I think it could be all of those. I mean, the first time that we really went to the moon was to beat the Russians or the Soviets, I
Yeah.
guess, and, we beat them and people are like, wow, that's really expensive. I mean, you had the Vietnam War going on and other things. So,
Yeah, other priorities coming.
and
Yeah.
to your point, people are like, uh, if we went, why do we stop? And since we're not going now, maybe we never. That's like a train of thought, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm wondering because we hear a bunch about Mars now. So is Mars the new moon? Like the new trend from a space perspective? Like, is it more interesting than that? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, since 1972, no person has ever traveled further than just a few hundred miles away from the Earth's surface. Uh, and we know that like the magnetosphere of the Earth, and um, the atmosphere and what have you, shields us from solar rays and from cosmic rays and stuff. And so as you get away from that, it's a lot more dangerous environment. So
Yeah.
I I think we have a lot of learning to do. And it seems like the moon's a safer place. I mean, you can always go to and from the moon, but getting to and from Mars takes a long time.
Yeah, they sent that new robot, right? It's going to take 7 months to get there. That's a pretty long journey. Like, I know I can barely fit into more than 16 hours in a plane. So like 7 months is pretty long. How long does it take to go to the moon? I don't even know.
Well, it depends on how fast you go.
Mm-hmm.
And one problem with speed is however fast you go, you're going to need to be able to slow down enough. So in order to kind of minimize how much we would have to slow down and the fuel you would have to carry for that, we took us 3 days to get there.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I didn't realize that. It might sound really dumb, but I didn't realize the time it takes.
I mean, you get there faster. I mean, the thing is, you need fuel to make your spaceship go faster, and the heavier your spaceship is, the more fuel you'll need.
Yeah.
And then the faster you're going, if you want to slow down, the more fuel you'll need to slow down. So it becomes like exponentially more. And plus, um, you always have the risk of kind of missing the moon and keep going.
Oh, really? Wow. Plus, you also have to figure out like the journey back, I guess, right?
Oh,
Because
exactly. You
yeah, you
gotta.
cannot fuel back in the moon. Um, so yeah,
So when did you find out that we're going to the moon in 2024?
I found that like maybe a month ago when I talked to you. So yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know at all. Though I'm following NASA on Instagram, but I haven't seen anything about that.
Oh, so you've been following them on Instagram for a while.
Not that long. Actually, I started when they launched the Dragon Crew
Oh, okay.
like a couple of months ago. I was like, oh yeah, well, I mean, like, let's check what's happening over there in social media way.
That's
But so
uh,
yeah, no.
that's neat. Most of the people I talk to don't know either. In fact, I had one person said, "Why is NASA keeping it a secret?" So
Oh,
I know.
conspiracy, maybe.
Yeah. Well, I think it's how we get the news now. I mean, we used to have three broadcast channels. Everybody watched the same thing. You made it a news. You made it into the public sphere, but everybody has their own specialized news feed at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true. And like each of those channels are answering the question a little bit differently, right? So I mean, for like, I really like photography, and so Instagram is perfect for me to get news and get that image. Like my background over there, I shamelessly stole it from the NASA website, and so, but it's really cool. It looks lovely, and I think that's the way I respond to news, is that I need to visually see, and then if it's appealing, then I stop and I read the caption behind it. Otherwise, I'm just like, yeah, scrolling forever. But yeah,
So thumbnails are very important for you.
yes, they are. I have the attention span of a goldfish, probably. So you need to catch my eyes with something shiny, so for me to actually stop for a second and look at it.
Now, one of the goals of this return to the moon in 2024 is to land the first woman on the moon.
Oh,
And
nice.
I guess that answers that question. I was going to ask if that made it better for you or not, but
Well, I mean, I don't like the fact that it's a woman is definitely a plus. Like it's always good to see that kind of proof that a woman can do the same thing or roughly the same thing as a man can. So I think that's great. I would have been happy even if we were sending a man to the moon. I think it's fascinating and really exciting as a news, but I'm happier that it's women.
yeah, it'd be nice to have that moment and then get past that moment so it's just like an ordinary thing, you know. You know,
Yeah.
woman's going to the moon. Oh, well, that's nice. Didn't that happen last week too? You know, it's just like
Yeah.
uh,
I would love for that to be true at some point. It's not the buzz, like the gender of the person doing an action, you know, is just like that's just a person doing it, and we don't pay that much attention about it. But unfortunately, we're not there, and I think we need to promote any type of gender diversity and equality that we can promote.
and if you look out like 500 years from now, civilization, humanity, what have you, are we still primarily on the earth and if people are only born on the earth and pretty much only die on the earth and we're just making these little side trips to places? Or do you think humanity ultimately expands beyond the earth and starts, like the entire solar system becomes in the domain of humanity and people are actually born on other planets and on space stations and live their entire lives without ever coming to Earth? I mean, like, what do you think the future looks like?
I think that's a really good question. I'm hoping that by that time, people can have the choice, and that that choice can be logistically supported, right? So if I'm born on Earth and I want to go to another planet, the travel arrangements are not basically cost me my life because it's too long to go from point A to point B, and I will basically die in transition or like be very, very old or, you know. So I think that could be really, really cool. Um, I believe that humans as a species have that conquest gene. And so I'm thinking 100 years more, I don't know, but I feel like if given the opportunity, we will spread out and be in other places. How does that look like? I don't know, because we haven't found really like that many proof of life or anywhere else. So I can't remember. There was another planet. It wasn't Mars. Maybe one of the moons somewhere, but like that we thought that there was an ocean
Mhm.
under all of the gas, right? And so maybe that could be, you know, something like a non-hostile place to be. Um, but like at the moment, logistically speaking, right? So either like you're too close to the sun and it's too hot, or you're too far away and it's too cold, or like the rotation makes it that you're basically spending your life in the dark if you landed at the wrong time, or you're spending all of your life with zero dark. So yeah, I don't really have a good answer for your question. I'm really thinking out loud, and I realize that I'm just like blabbering. But yeah, I don't know. I would love to have some human settlements here and there. I think that would be really cool. Um, but yeah, I wonder if like, you know, if you have like human settlements everywhere, if Earth is going to change in a sense as like you know, being like the original planet, and then like kind of regain some TLC, right? Some care and love, because went out, just like conquered other places, but like there's no place like home, and we need to take care of it and kind of clean up and all of that and make it better and more less destroyed, or I don't know how, like take care of it better. I don't know. I really don't know.
If there was an option to like go live, you know, Elon Musk, he wants to build a 1 million-person city on Mars by 2050.
Wow.
Um, do, would you see yourself as potentially one of the immigrants?
I don't think so. I think I really like my comfort. And like the perspective of spending 7 months to get there and to potentially be there and be in a small little thing where you're eating, I don't know, like recycled algae, or and like drinking recycled urine or whatever it is to sustain, like I'm really not excited by that. Full disclosure, I've never been camping in my whole life, so I don't even know if I can sustain a night outside on earth with like low level of comfort. So I haven't I don't think I can survive in Mars. At least not before they're putting 4-star hotels and hot showers.
I understand. I don't think you're alone in that. I do see that we're coming up to the top of the hour.
Yeah.
Do you have a hard stop?
I do. I have a meeting right after you.
Well, is there anything that you wanted to say before we wrap it up?
Um, I'm just like really, really happy that we got to chat. It was really interesting for me. I think the project is fascinating. I think space itself is really fascinating. I'm very excited to see what the future holds.
Me too. And thank you so much, AJ. And I hope you have a good rest of your day.
Yeah, thank you, Nathan. I'll talk to you soon and
You
have a
bet.
great day. Bye.
Bye-bye.